The story opens with a bleak foreshadowing from the Watcher, who recounts how they have witnessed the end of countless universes. And while some endings may be peaceful, this one is not. The Watcher takes us to the beginning of the end, where the headquarters of the Fantastic Four have been attacked. Susan Storm finds her husband Reed Richards tangled in the destruction, moments from death. Reed's final words to Sue are that their kids are safe in the negative zone, but the portal has been destroyed, and so they're stuck there. He also tells her that she must escape before it's too late. Sue hears Johnny's screams, so she turns invisible and runs to his aid, where she finds Deadpool with his blade to Johnny's neck. Deadpool decapitates Johnny and his blood sprays onto Sue, giving her position away.
Red's definitely your color.
Sue uses her powers to pop Deadpool's head. Thinking she's killed Deadpool, she turns her back and comments that he'll never be able to hurt anyone again. Moments later, Sue is impaled by Deadpool's blade as he mocks her for turning her back on a mutant with regenerative healing powers. The Watcher returns to tell us if we truly want to understand. Then we have to turn back the clock to where the story actually begins, at Ravenscroft Asylum. Some of the X-Men have brought Deadpool to Dr. Benjamin Brighton in the hope of healing his wounded soul. Wolverine expresses his concern about the situation, but he is overruled by Professor Xavier.
I've got a bad feeling about this, Chuck. I don't like it.
The X-Men hand over Deadpool to the Doctor, and he is put in a straitjacket. The Doctor begins conversing with Deadpool in his office, and we soon realize that the Doctor is actually being controlled by Psycho Man. Psycho Man begins torturing Deadpool with his control box, supposedly rewriting his psyche somehow. Psycho Man reveals his master plan to Deadpool.
Once I'm done conditioning you, and those like you, I'll have an unstoppable force of willing soldiers.
The Doctor says that the procedure is done, but at the same time, Deadpool breaks free from the straitjacket and uses it to strangle the Doctor. Psycho Man emerges from the Doctor's brain, and Deadpool smashes him to a bloody pulp on the desk. Until now, we've known that Deadpool has another voice in his head. But now, a new sinister voice presents itself, telling Deadpool to finish the job. Deadpool proceeds to massacre the rest of the patients at the asylum before burning the entire facility to the ground. The Watcher brings us back to the present to inform us that in some worlds, heroes have united to stop Psycho Man, and in others, the villain has succeeded in world domination. But what has happened here is something very different.
But here in this reality, the machinations of the would-be conqueror awakened a killer unlike.
The Watcher's monologue is interrupted as he is violently shocked by something. Surprise, surprise, it's Deadpool. He tells the Watcher that he stole this device from Reed Richards and calls it some kind of intergalactic taser. The Watcher does not understand why Deadpool would come for him. He's done nothing to interfere. Deadpool has only one question.
Who are you talking to?
Before the Watcher answers, Deadpool decapitates him and says that whoever they are, those little peeping toms, they'll want to know what's coming next. The next chapter opens with TV news reporter Trish Tilby covering Deadpool's murderous escapades, saying that no hero or villain is safe. We see that Deadpool has taken out Ghost Rider, Doctor Doom, some of the X-Men, and even a few Avengers. We're thrown straight back into the action, where Deadpool and Spider-Man are locked in a fierce conflict. Spider-Man drops Deadpool from hundreds of meters above the ground, and Deadpool splatters into a bloody mess on the street. Spider-Man knows that Deadpool will regenerate and waits for him to do so, while berating him for his actions. Spider-Man tells Deadpool that he's not a killer like him, but instead of wrapping Deadpool up, he talks for too long, allowing Deadpool to fully regenerate. Deadpool raises his gun to Spidey's chin and blasts his head off.
Spider-Man no more, huh?
He killed Spider-Man!
Somebody
Oh my
has
God.
to stop him! Let's get him!
Some of the Avengers and other heroes have assembled to discuss the Deadpool problem. Luke Cage informs us that Iron Fist and Black Panther are among Deadpool's list of lost souls. They all agree that the only course of action is to kill Deadpool. Just then, Jarvis runs into the room to tell Tony that Dr. Pym is missing, and some of his Pym particles are missing. Wolverine realizes that they are Deadpool's next targets, and the room explodes, killing almost everyone. Luke Cage crawls from the wreckage. His indestructible skin protects him from the blast, but his survival is short-lived. Deadpool used the Pym particles to shrink bombs and plant them in Cage's coffee, causing him to explode from the inside. Thor emerges, enraged and ready for revenge. He launches Mjolnir at Deadpool. The hammer flies towards Deadpool, but he kicks it back at Thor and enlarges it using the last of the Pym particles.
What's stronger, your hammer or your flesh?
The giant hammer crushes Thor to death. As Deadpool is walking off into the night, he starts conversing with the evil megalomaniac version of his psyche. The voice convinces Deadpool that everyone he's killed are just mindless puppets that deserve to be put out of their misery. The voice is interrupted mid-sentence by the Hulk.
You hurt Hulk's friends. You kill Hulk's enemies. Only Hulk gets to kill Hulk's enemies.
The Hulk walks away in a sulk, saying that he just wants to be left alone. He turns back into Bruce Banner and falls asleep in a cave, only to be woken later by the sound of Deadpool's blades as they slice through the air and take his head off in the process. Mary Jane, Aunt May, and the begrudged family members of Deadpool's victims have gathered and pooled their wealth to hire the ultimate hitman to finish Deadpool off once and for all. There's only one man for a task of this caliber. It's the Taskmaster. Part 3 of this series begins with Taskmaster following Deadpool's trail of massacres. Taskmaster would have hunted and killed Deadpool for the money alone. But after seeing the chaos he's left in his wake, Taskmaster believes that Deadpool deserves to die. He finds Deadpool particularly hard to track. Meanwhile, Deadpool has captured Professor X. He has him strapped to a chair in front of a wall of screens. Professor X asks Deadpool why he's hurt so many, to which Deadpool responds,
You really think any of you, any of us, can actually feel anything?
Deadpool tortures the professor and forces him to say the phrase, "To me, my X-Men." The X-Men come rushing to the professor's rescue, and Charles Xavier can do nothing but watch on the screens as they all meet a perilous end. Deadpool has somehow rigged the building with traps designed to kill the X-Men. Charles begs Deadpool to stop. The voice in Deadpool's head tells him that Xavier wants to get into his mind and that Deadpool should let him. Deadpool goes on to lecture Xavier about his recent revelation that has led him on his murderous crusade.
Everybody thought I was crazy, a stark, raving maniac, all because my worldview was a little different. It turns out I'm the only person in the world who sees things clearly. I just didn't realize it. It wasn't until Psycho Man messed around in my noodle that everything came together. So what if I break the fourth wall? It's the fourth wall that's been breaking me, crushing each and every one of us for as long as we've been in existence.
The professor has had enough of Deadpool's rant and looks into his mind. But the results of his findings render him brain dead and he dies.
What's the matter, Chuck? Don't like what you saw in my head? Can't handle the truth?
We see that Magneto and other X-Men have fallen into Deadpool's trap, and that Wolverine is still alive after the explosion. Wolverine finds Arcade and questions him about his partnership with Deadpool, and it is revealed that Deadpool forced Arcade to build the traps that killed the X-Men. Another trap opens to reveal X-23 and Daken in a murder room, designed to set the mutants on fire as soon as they regenerate, leaving them in a state of perpetual suffering. Deadpool shows up, taunting Wolverine by wearing the skin of Hank like a fur on his back. Wolverine and Deadpool engage in a bloody battle, and despite his carbonadium blade, Deadpool knows he can't kill Wolverine, but he knows what will stop him from coming back. The Taskmaster has come across Dr. Strange's sanctum, but finds Strange and Wong have been brutally murdered. Taskmaster finds a blood-stained book open on a page that reads, "The Nexus of All Realities." Taskmaster knows this means trouble. The fourth and final chapter of this turbulent saga begins with another TV report. The remaining heroes and villains who haven't yet fallen to Deadpool's rampage have turned against each other in an apocalyptic war. Those who aren't caught up in the slaughter choose a different path, opting for an organized mass suicide. The Punisher shoots Deadpool in the head and rushes across the street to finish him off before his regeneration kicks in. The Punisher arrives at the scene and pulls off Deadpool's mask, only to find the Puppet Master to be his victim. Deadpool then uses one of the Puppet Master's dolls, designed after the Punisher, to get the war veteran to shoot himself in the head. We see that Deadpool has gone as far as killing the intergalactic beings like Thanos and the Silver Surfer. He's left no one off the list. Finally, we see that Taskmaster has tracked Deadpool to a rotten swamp. Taskmaster tells Deadpool that this is the place where his story ends, and that his body will remain in the pits of this bog until the end of time. And perhaps one day people will forget his atrocities. Deadpool replies,
We don't want to be forgotten. We want to never have existed in the first place.
Deadpool and Taskmaster start fighting. Deadpool keeps Taskmaster busy with his characteristic rambling until the voice in Deadpool's head tells him that Taskmaster's muscle memory is kicking in and that he's begun to mimic his fighting style. Deadpool says to Taskmaster that now that his powers of mimicry have kicked in, he should be able to predict Deadpool's next move and asks him,
What's next?
The question, or rather, the realization of what is to come, frightens the Taskmaster. This fear awakens the Man-Thing, and it emerges from the swamp. The Man-Thing kills the Taskmaster, which was part of Deadpool's plan all along. That's why he had led Taskmaster to the swamp. Deadpool engages with the Man-Thing.
I bet you can see why I'm here, though, can't you? I'm here to help, to set you free. All you really need to do is open the door for me.
The Man-Thing sacrifices itself and opens a portal, but a portal to where? Deadpool seems to fall through space and time, while the voice in his head tells him that he has his work cut out for him if he wishes to find the center point. The portal spits Deadpool out, in a room filled with comics and drawings. Deadpool walks into a room filled with writers discussing how the story should end.
On the last page, we'll have a close shot of Deadpool as he approaches the door to one of Marvel's conference rooms.
Deadpool then turns to the reader and tells us as soon as he's done with these fools, we'll be next. If you enjoyed this video, please like, comment, and subscribe to our channel. And check out the videos on the screen. We'll see you in the next one. Take care.